Realtime, and we're actually in the after-party networking stage. So we wanted to chat with Gilad, who was one of the panelists before, find out his take on what's going on with real-time media, what he's involved with, and yeah, just give us what your perspective is.
Cool. So I'm Gilad Lotan, and I work at SocialFlow. I do research and development there, and what we're doing at SocialFlow is trying to understand audiences. So how do you connect better to your audiences based on stuff that engages them? So we look at a whole slew of metrics, like what they post, what they tweet, what they retweet, what they click on, what time of day they're active in, where in the world they are. So all these things that are publicly available now, in order to piece together this analysis of how to engage them and with what topic and how to prioritize that. A lot of our customers have all this content that they could potentially publish, but it's really hard for them to make sense of when's the best time and what content will do best with these audiences.
Is there any general rule that you have a better time frame of when to publish from an entrepreneurial perspective who may not be able to, work with a company such as yours?
So I mean, it really depends on your audience. Because if your audience is solely in the States, or maybe even only in New York City, obviously you would publish content during the day. You wouldn't publish in weekends unless they have a certain type of audience that's more likely to be online in weekends. So, I mean, it really depends. We see, across the board, we see different behaviors. Right. Like some of our customers have, they engage throughout the day, like even middle of the night, because they have totally global audiences. Some only at specific times works better. Our process is extremely dynamic. We look at how that changes, and in real time, we prioritize all the content.
So when someone hires SocialFlow to do things for them, are you coming up with the actual campaigns of what they should be saying based on the metrics and what you're observing after you do a background research?
So we can help clients understand what type of content works better by looking at their content and seeing what engaged their audience better.
And do you have programs that are affordable for the typical entrepreneur, or what is your market segment? What is your category? Are you mostly larger companies?
Right now, we're dealing mostly with big publishers. We're starting to engage with a lot of brands. Actually, if you sign up for an account, we'll get back to you and we'll figure out what type of account might suit your needs. And then figure out the level of tracking and engagement and all that would be necessary.
So what were you talking about when you were up on the panel just before? What were your observations that you were giving out?
The panel was on influence, right? And there are all these social media tracking tools online now, somewhat trying to analyze someone's influence or clout. And what we were trying to figure out is how do you is it even measurable? Is it measurable? Is it worthy to try to measure? Should we be trying to do this? What other, how else can we look at influence? And my point was that we should, it's really hard to quantify influence inside a single metric, because it's actually made up of a whole slew of dynamics, sort of human dynamics, and they aren't always rational. A lot of people's actions aren't rational online. We trust people for a whole variety of reasons, and we think someone's credible or not based on, not on their followers or who they're connected to, but just our feelings. So it's really hard to quantify that. The more metrics we actually look at, the better notion we have. So I was just talking about something we do at SocialFlow. We look at timing, right? When somebody's active, to know if at a certain moment they might be they might have the ability to be influential or not. The network, so who they're connected to and how information flows within that network. And we look at that over time. And then we look at topicality, what topics do they tend to engage their audience or followers, or what engages them. Right, so timing, network, and topicality are things we are extremely interested in.
Do you find that you are getting more buy-in from larger companies who are finally coming around to saying, okay, we see behaviors are changing. We see we have to be in this space, and we see that there's value to all of these studies and these programs and these different companies that are providing all this metrics and research, back-end research as to people's behaviors.
It's definitely, the trend is definitely accelerating, which is great for us. We find that a lot of companies are just trying to figure this out, so they're willing to give it a try. The nice thing about our tool is that it automates some of the processes, so you don't have to put a human sort of to do some of these actions, so it actually saves them.
So we can look up and find out more about the company at, what's the address, the URL?
It's SocialFlow.com. And some of our studies are on blog.socialflow.com.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you.